Magandang araw. Ako si Kuya Code. Today we'll be continuing to learn Python through coding challenges on Hackerrank. Today's challenge will be an introduction to nested lists. So as I mentioned in previous videos, this is how you make a list. We'll make one called grades. And instead of having the grades like this, I guess 12 would be a very bad grade. Instead of having grades like this with just a list of numbers, we'll make it nested by, we can organize them based off of the subject. So each item in the list will be another list. So we'll just do 3 of them. The first one, we can just do math. The second one, we can do science. The third one, we can do English. But of course, the good thing with lists is that it doesn't have to be the same type, at least in Python. So the other elements in each of these sublists will be the actual grades themselves. So we'll do 90, 85, 75, 90. Science can be 88, 85, 92, and 85. And then English can be 75, 80, 75, and 85. So those are lists, our list of lists, which is a nested list. And now we will make a function or a method, as sometimes it's called. Get, let's see here. All of these have duplicate values, so we'll get unique ones. Get unique grades. So what do we have to pass into this function? Well, we just need to pass in the specific subject. And then inside of this, well, first we can just iterate through all the grades. So for every record in grades, we can, if the record at index 1, or the 0th index, the first index is equal to subject, then we will do something. So what that means is if we pass in math into the function, we're checking which one of these lists is math, because index 0 is only checking the first one. So is this math, is it science, or is it English? So we'll do that. And then once we have that, we can check, we'll actually make something else called a set. There'll be a lot more details in other videos about how sets work and how they're different from lists. But we'll do unique grades equals, we'll have a set record, and this is 1. So the reason why it starts as 1, we're basically just putting all of the items inside of record into this set, but we're starting index 1 because if we started with index 0, that would include the the actual subject itself. So we're starting with 1. So for example, for the first record, we're only adding this to the set. For the second record, we're adding only these to the set. Of course, for the third record, we're adding only those to the set. And the special thing about sets is they automatically remove duplicate values. So even though there's 4 numbers that are going to be added into this set, it's going to remove one of them because you have 90 twice. In this case, you have 85 twice, and in this case, you have 75 twice. So this is only going to have 3 numbers for each one of the records that we have here. And then we can just return unique grades. And if you enter a subject that doesn't actually exist, you can just return like none. Okay, so that's it for that. And then simply we could make a variable to pass into this. So we'll just start with math because math is the first one. Subject, but also I suppose that the my the AI is automatically generating what I previously had because I from before I started recording, I was planning everything out. So let's just say again, the subject is math, and then we're going to make a variable that holds unique grades. So unique grades, we'll call the function get unique grades, and then we'll just pass in the subject. So then this is just going to return the set of all the unique grades for each one, or for the specific one that you're passing in. And then what we can do is, if unique grades is not none, then we will print. Actually, we can just print that. So if you're passing in a grade or a subject that doesn't exist, then it's going to just print this. But if you're passing in one that does exist, it's going to print that. So we can just save that. We can actually input enter the subject. We'll just do it like that, actually. Python 3 main. Enter the subject, math. These are all the math grades. Again, it's taking out the 90. And if we type in science, it's taking out the other 85. And we type in history, no record found for history. So that's kind of an introduction for the lists, or the how the nested list works and how you can go through them. And now we'll go to the Python Hackerrank problem. So in this one, of course, this is the nested list problem. Given the names and grades for each student in the class of n students, store them in the nested list and print the names of any students having the second lowest grade. If there are multiple students with the second lowest grade, order their names alphabetically and print each name on a new line. So as I mentioned in a previous video, we did go over how to sort, because this is saying that we need to have them in a very specific order. So we could make a our list, records equals new list, and then this is the input, which takes the name of each student. Let's look at our input here. Oh, so int.input, so our input is taking this 5 here because there's 5 students and 5 grades. And then for each loop, you're taking the name, which is a string, and then you're also taking that person's score, which will be converted into a float, which is a decimal number as opposed to a whole number. And then what we would need is we can just add that to our list. So records dot append, and what you can actually do is make a you'll not just because we need to put in 2 items, so we'll actually just make a new list. So you don't necessarily need to make into a variable. You can just put the square brackets here, which represents a new list. So this list is going to contain a name and a score. So now we have a list of lists where each list is the person's name and the person's score. And then just like in the other problem that we did, we can also add scores to score, which is a set. Scores equals set. There's our new set. And then that's it for that. And then what we can do is, just to test this, we can just print, actually we'll do for r in records print r. We'll just see what that does. Right, so it's printing out Harry's score, Barry's score, Tina's score, and et cetera, et cetera. But if we print out the score, there's only 4 of them, and that's because Harry and Barry have the exact same score. They both have 37.21. So it's kind of similar to the previous problem. But instead of printing it out, we don't need that. What we'll do is we can actually sort the set, because we need the second lowest. So let's just see here. This one is the highest. This one is the lowest. These 2 are the second lowest. So we can actually see if we can print out sorted scores. What happens if you print the sorted scores? Oops, it doesn't like the indentation. Python is very specific with the indentation. So yeah, these are the stores that are sorted. Notice that there's only one 37.21 because it's a set and to remove the duplicate. And this is index 0, this is index 1. So that means that we can actually just, because this is a list, we can actually just grab index 1 and print that out. So this is exactly the score that we need for us with the associated with the name. So now we have to go through the original record, and if a person's score matches the second lowest, then we can just return the actual name of the person. And then of course we need to make sure that if there's multiple, like in this case, we need to print it in alphabetical order. So again, we can remove this. There is something called a list comprehension, which I'll add here, but there's another data type challenge that kind of goes into more details about those. So we need the names. We need a list of names in case there's more than one. So we want to, what do we add to this list? We need to add a name, and we can actually include a kind of like a for loop in here. So for name and score in records, because records, each element of records has a name and a score. This is what we added in. So we're saying for each list, which contains the name and a score in the list records, we want to return the name, but we only want to return the name if the score of the person is equal to the second lowest. And I realized when I deleted that other line, I should have just kept it as a variable. So second lowest equals sorted scores 1. And then these are the names. This isn't in alphabetical order, so we need to do that next. So for name in sorted names, so now the names are sorted for alphabetical order. We can simply print the name. And that, I believe, should be it. Let's see. Okay, that printed out in alphabetical order. Now let's do the final submission. And that is it for that one. So if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe for more coding challenges. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. See you next time on Kuya Code. Paalam.